You are listening to SheKings with Erica and Allie. This is a podcast for peasants who don't want to live shitty lives. Every week we share insights on how to stop living out of habit and start living out of inspiration. So let's do this.
All right, we're recording.
Hello, hello.
I know, you look so regal. Ooh, what are you drinking?
I am regal. I remember re-recording an episode and I was drinking an American classic. I do believe it was a Bud Light, and you judged me. And I would just like you to know I'm drinking a nice small batch craft beer, nice IPA that my husband picked up. And you know, what time is it here? It's 3:23 in the afternoon, and
Sounds about right.
this it's around time we start drinking in this house since no one's leaving. So yeah.
Welcome. Well, welcome. If you're starting your day or you are like Erica drinking in the afternoon, we welcome you.
In the afternoon in the sunshine.
In the sunshine, absolutely. Or if you're drinking your coffee in the morning sun or your tea, we welcome you to SheKings. And SheKings is every week we bring clarity to overused spiritual buzzwords and little known spiritual concepts so that you, our wonderful humans, can live a life with more freedom and with ease. This is episode 39. Yes?
Yes, it is.
And we are in our second season. If you haven't listened to our other episodes, we invite you to start at the very beginning.
Yes.
I love that song from, is it Mary Poppins? Let's start at the very beginning.
What song is that? I love me some.
When we read, we began with ABC. No?
No, it's not Mary Poppins, but I like when you sing, Allie.
I don't know, it's one of those. Anywho, welcome guys. We are in day 2 of our official, or 3 of our official lockdown. No, it's actually been longer than that. It's all a blur now. It's all a blur. It's so funny because Mark and I are usually, we stay home unless I go to the studio and unless we go to the store or unless we go for a walk. So it's truly nothing new.
Yeah.
It's nothing new. It's like, this is our everyday anyway.
My life is literally not different at all, as all of our listeners know as well. I'm like, what? Leave the house? Crazy.
This is amazing. Yeah. But we hope everybody is well, both physically and emotionally and mentally.
Yeah.
Wherever you're at. How are you doing overall?
I'm good. Like we just said, nothing much has changed in my world. I actually somehow am really happy to have Dylan and Asha and Charlie home with me. And I am interested in the future where we always, work from home. I was watching this comedian like a few months back, and he was like, he's like this Italian New Yorker and super funny guy, but he was talking about how his wife comes from a really wealthy family. He was like, one of those families where you like just drop in on a random Tuesday and like everybody's at home. I'm like, I want to be that family. Like literally, it's like, what are you doing? How do people make money? Like, I want my family to be that family. We're all home on Tuesday afternoon, having lemonade and like sitting in the garden. Yes.
I love it.
I'm super excited about that.
What's up? You're already doing it.
Listen, #coronavirus.
Yeah.
Right? It came through on that thing for me. And I'm grateful for that. So what's up with you?
Nothing much. We've been taking the babies for long walks to get them out of the house. And it's so funny. We took Audrey and Aaron with us, and Audrey's so good. Like she had her wipes, and like when they would touch the handrail, she'd be just, don't touch the handrail.
Oh yeah.
Wiping shit down. So it's nice to have her on the walk with us. Like she was prepared.
Oh
She
no.
like yeah.
Me and Bill as well. He's crazy because I'm insane. I'm like, what? Where is the hand sanitizer? Give me my bleach wipes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So that's it. I just like our little adventures with the babies, of course. Studio obviously is still closed. They close it down to April 30th. Everything is. And we'll see if they extend it even longer. But yeah. But everything else is good. I'm still doing my workouts, taking those stairs, doing the thing.
Allie's running like upwards of 20 flights of stairs a day, guys. So
I mean, it hurts when you get to the top, but then like when I regain my breath and composure, walk right back down and do it again.
Oh goodness. Can I do the universe is laughing at you?
Yes, please do.
So Willem went to go pick up Asha from her daycare a few weeks ago. And her teachers were like, yeah, Asha has a new thing that she's doing where they have this room where all of the beds are for the little people. And Asha apparently, they would like put everybody down for their nap. And Asha would wake up. Well, not wake up. She wouldn't go to sleep. She would just be laughing and joking and keeping everybody up, talking to them. Ha! But when the teachers would come in, she would pretend like she was sleeping. She would pretend like she was sleeping, like, which Willem does all the time. She'll like want something from him, and he'll just like close his eyes and like lean over to the side and like make snoring noises. So she started doing that at school, and it was like all a big joke until coronavirus came along. And now she's home with me, and she is in that phase where she's kind of growing out of her nap. And I was like, it was all fun and games while it was happening at school. Yeah. But now she's here.
Right.
And this shit is whack because she doesn't want to go to sleep. So that's my universe is laughing at you for the week.
There was a post that I saw, like the longer the lockdown goes on, the more clarity you will see that it wasn't the teachers at all.
No, it was your badass kids. They tried to tell you.
Wasn't the teachers
terrible.
And you're about to find out. Enjoy.
Oh gosh.
Oh man. All right. So our topic today is I'm excited about it. It's about compassion.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
And it's just, I feel what I'm noticing, my story is we're kind of lacking compassion as a society. It's so much easier to just go to blame, like whose fault is it? Instead
of gosh.
Compassion.
No, yeah. I'm with you. I should invite you to this group on Facebook. It's called like the Kindness Pandemic or something like that.
Ooh.
And it's out of Australia. And so people are only posting about people doing extremely compassionate, extremely kind things. So that is a great counterbalance to some of the crazy shit I'm seeing that seems not so compassionate. So yeah, that's what this episode is about, how we can all sort of love thy neighbor a little bit more, even the ones that suck real bad. So what...
Love thy neighbor, even the ones that suck.
Even the ones that suck. Like, especially the ones that suck.
Especially those. Absolutely. Yeah. So compassion for me, I think we learned it in India when we were there, and it was understanding the lack of understanding. And so understanding the lack of understanding is if you don't have compassion, then you're lacking the understanding of that person's journey.
Yeah.
You're, lacking the understanding that you are that person. You are lacking
Yes.
understanding of maybe their perception of their life and their world. So it's just
Yes.
literally just a lack of understanding. And so,
I freaking love that definition.
yeah. And so when you start to practice compassion, you're understanding. Like, I mean, and that's the crazy thing is like you don't have to understand exactly. You just
Mhm.
simply understand like they're on their journey. Like they're going through something, obviously. Um, yeah, and so that's what makes compassion such a powerful practice. It's just
Why did you say we learned it in India?
I swear Russian said it. Compassion is the understanding the lack of their understanding.
Shut up. Roshan was our teacher. Wow.
Yeah.
Good. He was good. He was pretty good though. Like seriously. Oh, Roshan. Oh, Roshan. All right. Why do you think that people are struggling with practicing compassion now and really always?
Yeah, really always. Yeah. I think it's just because we as a society like to see ourselves as different from other people or better than.
Yeah.
And it comes from a place of fear too, that we wouldn't ever want to see ourselves in their shoes. Or that's where separation comes in. Like I'm better, I'm a different class than you. I am, money situation, race situation, everything. It separates us. And when we have separation and we are in our little cliques, our groups, that's where as people, that society is, that's where they're the most comfortable.
I think it's also a separation of like tone and demeanor as well, right? So it's like, oh, I would never say it like that, or I am a kind person, or I am, and this person is rude, this person is inappropriate, this person has no class, this person has no decorum, this person, and I love that you pointed out that there definitely is like always a judgment of superiority
Yeah.
implied in a lack of compassion. You've decided that you're in a position
Yep.
to say whether or not that person is okay,
Yep.
acceptable.
Absolutely. And it does. It just gives us this perceived, I mean, it's a false perception that we are better in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people thrive off of.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I would never do that. Or, man, judging people.
Or that should never be done.
Yeah. Or I would have done it totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would run the country so different. Am I right?
Am I right? I would just totally run the country in a completely different way. Much better.
Absolutely. So, like the message that we get from compassion, or actually the message that we're sending to ourselves and to other people is just that we're not one, we're separate. We're supporting this I don't know, this, I can't think of the word. We're supporting this aggressiveness,
Mm-hmm.
this disconnection.
Yeah.
I think that's what the message is, of not practicing compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so why would we?
Well, I think it's a part of it, a part of supporting that disconnection though is supporting another connection, right?
Mhm.
So if we talk about how, some of the most inflammatory stuff, and I just want to point out right now that I was talking to a friend about something, and she just said directly, I'm not that evolved. So I understand what I'm about to say. Some people are going to be like, I'm not that evolved. I completely disagree with you. But one of the places where I've seen the most inflammatory language is talking about Donald Trump, right? Since his presidency started, people have been absolutely and completely disgusted with him. And I think that there is a way to say, I disagree. This is full Barack Obama, right? We can disagree without being disagreeable. And, you know, what I definitely see, what I definitely see with how people are responding to Donald Trump is that they disagree and they're very disagreeable. And some of the vitriol and negativity that people throw his way, it's like, whoa, if you were awake to what you were saying, if you were connected right now,
Yeah.
you would not be okay with saying that. But the thing is, there are enough people who are in the same state and feeling the same negativity. And I'm not saying it's for nothing, right? I have eyes and ears and I can see and hear. And there's a lot of hot mess going on out there. But there is a level of connection that people are getting on and about these really negative things that they see and feel and say about Donald Trump. So there's connection in the disconnection.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
There's connection in the lack of compassion. Like everybody's like, we should be compassionate towards this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mark and I went to go pick up some food from an Ethiopian restaurant, and they had their TV on, and Jerry Springer was on, and we were watching it, and I was like, wait a minute, this looks so familiar. It's just how people are acting and fighting and calling names. I'm just like, oh, this is our country right now.
Yep.
Like, oh yeah, and yeah, they're totally, the audience was connected. It's like, yeah, so I get that. I get that.
But the funny thing is, I love that you brought up Jerry Springer, because half the people who are disenchanted with, again, the Trump presidency, for example, not that they shouldn't be, but like the anger and the vitriol is what I'm talking about. To be compared to Jerry Springer, audience and guests, they would be like clutching their pearls. Me? Never. But yeah, that energy is real similar though. It's just like a super messy energy, super negative.
All of it going like both ways, like
Yeah.
between everybody. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's so crazy. Okay, so that's a totally different other show.
Yeah, but
okay, so why practice compassion? And I love practicing compassion by doing it a certain way. It's how would the universe, so asking the question, how would the universe view that person or view that situation? And I promise you, if it has anything to do with just disgust or hatred, you know that's not how the universe rolls. So then how would the universe view that person? And it would just be like, oh, that person's doing their thing, right? So that's how the universe would view that person, that situation. Yeah.
That universe would see them. I think that everything has a balance. And I think the universe would acknowledge that as well. There would be this sort of, you know, if you're seeing this world through non-awakened eyes, if there's positive, then there must be negative, right? If there is growth and birth, there must be destruction and death. And so, yeah, for every awesome human being, as you see it and perceive it, there has to be something that balances that out. So I think that the universe would just be like, everything's working just fine. Like,
right. Everything's
all proceeding well.
It's all going smoothly.
Yeah. Yep.
And another practice that was really eye-opening for me is, so if we are all whole, if we are all one, then we have every single quality. We have our niceness, we have our meanness, we have our anger, we have our peace. Like we have absolutely every quality in us that ever is. And so when we notice something in somebody else that we don't like, we're just basically saying, like, I'm not acknowledging it in myself. Like I'm afraid of it. So for example, like I had a client who he was, his whole thing, he's a big guy, and his whole upbringing was like, every time he complained, like, stop being a wuss, like push through. like you can do, like, don't embarrass me, all this type of talking down to him when he tried to show, I'm hurt, I'm not feeling well, this isn't what I want. And so now he has grown into this person who cannot stand weak men. Like he just hates them, right? He just can't stand them. And so, just working with him, it's just like, where is that coming from? Right. So he hasn't accepted it in himself because it was told him, to stop being that person.
Yeah.
But then how can you accept it? Like when in your life did it play such a huge role to be that person? Right.
Mm-hmm.
To show up as, honoring, no, my body's injured. And so, I'm not going to continue. And so it's like, oh, so being that weak person played a big part. So how can you embrace it? And then how can you embrace like other people how they want to? Yeah. And so that is having compassion for yourself, every aspect of yourself, and then also having compassion for that other person because they're honoring themselves. Yeah.
I know I find that when people start to wake up to what you just explained in individual circumstances, like they see in a, case by case, like, oh my gosh, how am I that person in this way, that way, and the other way? And I used to be that person, or however it is they see it. When they soften in themselves, when they remember and reconnect with that part of themselves, it's no longer even an effort to have compassion for the other. It falls into place. And so it kind of shows that always that lack of compassion is a lack of compassion for self.
Yeah.
Right? Heal it in yourself, and there's no more work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that story, Allie.
It's so I'm reading a book. I read a book. It's The Dark Side of the Light Chasers.
Yeah, you told me to read it. I loved it.
It's so good. But I mean, she goes deep where if we were all one, then all of us could be a murder. All of us could be a pedophile. All of us could be all these things. And there's like, so if I was raised differently, if I was locked in a room, if I was abused, if I was all these things, it's like, yeah, I could totally be that person.
Absolutely.
And so then it is just having that compassion to just be like, man, and it doesn't mean that you agree with the actions.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, I can see that. Like if I was raised differently, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that is the practice that I like. It's just what part of me am I not accepting because I'm noticing just these triggering, irritating qualities in another person. And then the benefit of that is like you start to accept yourself, all of you.
Yeah.
Like absolutely all of you. Yeah.
Love it. The next one in terms of practicing compassion is asking yourself, how do I have the potential to have the same qualities as this person?
Yeah.
How do I have the potential to have the same qualities as this person? So the question we just looked at, how am I that person? It's like, no, you're actively the same, right? And this, how do I have the potential, is such a good and wonderful question. Because a lot of the things that we don't like we've decided that we don't like in ourselves or we don't want to see in ourselves, things that we've decided are not for us, we should never ever be this way. When we see someone else doing it, it drives us crazy. And so it may not be something that you've actively done before,
right,
but you've made a decision about it in some way, shape, or form. And I think for this one, it again brings back to mind my favorite person for this topic, Donald Trump, because it's, how do you have the potential to be this sort of person? So like you said, if I had a similar upbringing, that man must really be suffering with a lot of the energy that he puts out. You can imagine what it's like to live in that mind of his. But how do you have the potential? Maybe how are you even actively doing it? When you think about all of the vitriol that he puts out, and you think about all the vitriol that you give back. Maybe you don't do it to absolutely every person. Maybe you couldn't imagine yourself ever, ever, ever being that way. But take a step back and have an honest look. How do I have the potential to be that way? Even if you don't say it out loud, even if you wouldn't dare put it on the social medias that, something bad should happen to Donald Trump or this, that, and the other. Are we going to get like contacted by like the FBI or CIA for like what we're talking about? But
Oh, that will expand our viewers.
But I think that if we were all really honest, a lot of the things that we feel about other people, even in the way that we're responding to that person, that is there. That thing that we don't think is okay is 100% present. You don't think it's okay to be a negative asshole, but when it comes to Donald Trump, you are exactly that. Am I making sense, Allie?
No, you totally are. Totally are. And we think, oh, well, I'm not that person on that big of a scale, right? I haven't done that much. It doesn't matter. Like the universe is just one time, one thought. It doesn't matter. Byron Katie gave a really good example. If somebody called her a murderer, I mean, she could go through, well, I haven't killed anybody. I'm not that person. But then when she takes a step back, it just goes, oh, no, I killed a shit ton of ants, right?
Yeah.
I killed mice. Like, so yeah, she can embrace that and just say, no, actually I am a murderer.
Yeah.
Like the universe doesn't distinguish, like people is different than ants, is different from this, is different from this. There's no separation. It's all one thing. So yeah.
And not to be like silly or ridiculous, but if you imagine how Donald Trump was treated and, whoever created that person, whatever circumstances came together to give us him, I'm sure that person thought also not on a small scale, right? This is a small scale. Like I can be an asshole to just this one kid. Well, guess what? He's the motherfucking president of the United States of America right now. And so it might seem small, but like everything comes together to create the universe that we live in. And so it's just worthwhile to note that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then just finding your role in it. Right?
Yeah.
Finding how can I find compassion in myself by noticing this person's action and behavior that's causing or that I'm choosing to feel so anxious, so hateful, so irritated. That, yeah.
I want to use another example that's not so obvious. I remember being in college and there was this one girl who just like drove me crazy. I thought she was just so over the top, so attention seeking, so whatever. And I'm not like that. But in many ways, I had the potential to be that way, right? And everyone does. And so even if it's not something that you're actively doing, how do you have the potential to have the same qualities? What if I didn't feel like I was getting, attention? Like what would I do to get it? What if I didn't feel like I had friends or a solid connection to people? What wouldn't I do to try to get that, away from home, in college, no safety net of humans to fall back on? Maybe I would be out there being completely fucking ridiculous. Yeah. And I remember having that realization when I was in college, it really softening to her. I'm like, I don't know what you're going through. Or whether you just think this is just an awesome idea. You know what I mean? But I need to let you have that because maybe one day I'll also think it's an awesome idea. And funny, that was pre-social. And now everybody's attention seeking, right? Like, somebody give me a like, please.
Wow. Selfies
everybody.
Now.
Yep. Absolutely. What else do we have?
So that's basically it. That's just it. So compassion just comes down to accepting yourself, every aspect of yourself. And then you'll start to notice that those triggers that you have with other people aren't so strong. Like you're just like, yeah, I totally get it. So The homework, and this one was going to be a fun one for everyone, is to list the top 3 people that you cannot stand and answer the 4 questions that we have explained above. So 1, how would the universe see this person? How am I that person? How do I have the potential to have the same qualities as them? What is the benefit of embracing that quality within myself? And how can I accept more of me by practicing compassion? And we'll have
Yeah.
the questions in the notes of the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. 5 questions. I
Yeah.
wrote 4. So Ali said 4, but it's 5 questions.
5 questions, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's powerful work to just bring it all back to you. Because it's so much easier to just blame, put it out there. It's their fault. I can't believe they're doing it this way. And just coming back to, all right, why is that bothering you so much?
Yep.
How am I that already in some aspect of my life?
Yep.
It doesn't have to be on a huge scale. Yeah, but it's pretty powerful.
I love that. And also, how am I making something other that is actually like me? Stop creating that other, that there's no other.
Yeah.
It's all freaking you.
Yeah. It's really apparent now, like whose fault it was, why hasn't this virus been handled the right way? It's just like we're wasting so much time and energy pointing fingers instead of just.
Oh my gosh. And you see that on a small scale, but let's on a big scale, let's talk about the small scale. I can't tell you the number of people who want to complain to me about people being out and about, and they're like, oh yeah, I just, I had a couple of people over, or I have, this, yeah, my cleaning person is coming through. Oh, people should just stay indoors. I had to get out of the house and go for a walk. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, everything is other. Nothing is me. It's you. It's literally, you are doing all the things that annoy you, not these other people out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. All right, Miss Erica, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me breastfeeding my 2-year-old. Anytime that, if you guys are listening to this on iTunes, Asha has been on my boob for this entire episode. And it's a good time. It's a good time. You guys can find me at ericadanielle.com or on the socials at Erica Danielle Overshares. And what about you, Ali?
They can find me on my website, IamAllieDuncan.com, and on the socials, Allie Duncan Be Seen, or Facebook and Instagram. And I also redirected my YouTube channel, I Am Allie Duncan. So I'm posting a lot of short videos. So short, like seriously, like 3 minutes. Just on energy, mindset, taking control of your emotions, and all of the things. So check that out also, and we'll add that into the notes. And that's it, you guys. Stay healthy, stay sane, and keep putting out good juju.
Yeah.